Hello, 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 and good evening, Holiday Matsuri! Hoping you're all doing very well. My name is Marlon from Modus Games, here to introduce to all of you God of Rock, our upcoming rhythm-based fighting game. This April, we'll be dropping God of Rock for you, and I'm going to be introducing to you our top 8 of the tournament that we've been running today here at Holiday Matsuri. We've been back there in the game room, enjoying so many games with all of you that are getting to learn the game, having some fun. And we are challenging all of you this April to come out, whatever console you're on, Xbox One, Series X and X, PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, or on PC. Tell us if you have what it takes to battle to the beat and see if you are the God of Rock champion. Before we get started, I'm going to pass the mic over to somebody that's going to show off our first of the top 8 right over here. Thank you all.
All right, thank you very much, Marlon. How we doing, Holiday Matsuri? That's what I like to hear. How are y'all enjoying the game room? Yeah, it's pretty great this year. The team worked so hard on it, and I'm proud of what we did here. But we're going to go ahead and get top 8 of God of Rock kicked off. First up, our winner's semis match, our first winner's semis match. We're going to go ahead and bring on Crimson to the stage. Give him a round of applause. And his opponent, we've got Tiger. All right, and our 2 competitors are going to go ahead and get things kicked off. Dara, Moo, we're going to take it over to y'all, and let's see how this match plays out.
Hello everybody, welcome of course to the first showing, the first competition, the first tournament of God of Rock. I'm of course Dara, coming to you live from here in Orlando, Florida with my lovely, incredible co-caster.
Yes, I'm Viva La Moo Chicken, or Viva La Moo for short, and well, this is the first premiere, and it's going to be a ridiculous top 8, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the game that we have at hand. For all of those that are uninitiated, which should actually be the most of you, considering this is a game that is not out yet, buddy. This is God of Rock. This is a rhythm game primarily with fighting game-inspired inputs and metered mechanics as well. So it's going to be an exciting one. I hail from like a bit more of an FGC background, and you, of course, come from like a rhythm game background.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see, like, what happens. I got a chance to get my hands on the game. It was quite fun. It was a really good time. I know they only have, like, a limited pool of characters right now, but there's going to be plenty more to come, so we're just going to be waiting for the match ahead of us to start.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm just going to be waiting for them to get going. So once again, a little bit of a rhythm game slash fighting game, little bit of like mix here. So what's going to happen is you're going to be seeing notes swooping in from the sides, as you would any other rhythm game, but then you also have fighting game inputs that are charged by meter. You can have level 1s, you can have level 2s, you can have level 3s, you have EX moves, and you also have ultra moves as well. And this is like really similar to a lot of other like battling rhythm games, right? Where you can just kind of like throw stuff at your opponent and make it more difficult for them to do stuff.
Okay, so is this a button check, or are we getting right into it?
I think they're getting into it. They look like they have the intensity of those about to get into it. Yeah, this is going to be the first game. Gotcha.
All right. So already starting off where it looks like Crimson is using a lot of level 1s and level 2s against Tiger here, adding notes to the lane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can definitely get away with that. You just right now, the goal is I want to catch you on your feet. I want to make sure that you're nice and attentive. I want to just throw stuff at you. But right now, whole lot of misses there. Tiger dealing so much damage onto Crimson, who's finally just able to bounce back at some point, which is so important with this kind of a game. You have to not let it snowball against you. You have to sometimes just cut your losses and be like, I need to get myself back into the flow of the inputs.
Absolutely, exactly. And as you can see, they're just throwing level 1s and 2s back and forth. Now Tiger's lane is slowed to a crawl. There's extra notes added on. Ooh, okay, so a quick KO from Tiger.
Yeah, really, really fast round 1, actually. That started out a little bit more in Crimson's favor. Tiger was just able to just kind of overwhelm Crimson, and Crimson like couldn't cut the bleeding at some point, right? That's just like really snowballed against them.
And to give a quick little foray into what you're seeing as the match progresses, as the song progresses and they're taking damage and pressing more notes, the song gets progressively harder.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
So as you're getting further and further into song, you're expected to start missing notes unless you are that good.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have any time to even like catch a breath. The game is making sure to pile on like the intensity right from the get-go. And already we're just seeing a huge use of the meter there. Crimson taking a bit of a slight lead, much in a similar fashion to game one.
Yep. Oh, the extra notes coming through and the slowdown coming in the right lane for Tiger. And then just a string of flurries of perfects and flawlesses from both players. Oh, now we're starting to get misses from both sides.
Yeah, right now they're just going back and forth, a much more even game than before. Right now just a whole lot of flawlesses just as well. A lot of misses on Crimson's end. Tiger is now slowly starting to take advantage of this.
Ooh.
And ooh.
Yeah, we're getting in there and close to finishing out this round. It'll all come down to basically the solo coming up at the end here. We have the extra notes that got added to Crimson, and that is what did him in.
Wow. Yeah, again, Tiger taking game 2 here. Looking just like pretty solid, pretty tight thus far. I just feel like as soon as like the match like picks up a little bit intensity, like as you mentioned, as the song goes on, like the difficulty starts to progress. Oh, it's all best of 3? That was so
Looks like
fast.
it, yeah.
Damn, that caught me off guard.
So I believe as these tournaments pick up more and more in the future, as the players get better and better, these matches could potentially go on for minutes, just like a real rhythm game.
Keep in mind, none of these people have played the game before today.
Yeah, so the fact that they're already at this skill level of just throwing out, launching out super EX moves, ultras, and then also just being able to time these, which is, from the rhythm game aspect, that would be sight reading.
Oh, absolutely. From like, I sat down and I picked up the game and I like played like 7 like rounds by myself to even be able to just execute all of the notes in isolation without even taking into account A, the difficulties that your opponent is throwing at you, B, your own like inputs to start making it more difficult for them. That was in of itself like a bit of a challenge, right? That was like, you have like the first aspect of like rhythm game to actually get past.
Yes, exactly. And then once you get to that, then it's the fighting games layered in.
But with that being said, let's throw it to the MC really quick, who's going to introduce our next couple of players for winner semis.
All right, let's give it up to Tiger, one of our first grand finalists of God of Rock. Let's give him a hand. All right, but Crimson's run's not over. He's got a chance to bring it back through the losers bracket. But now we're going to go ahead and kick off our second winners semis match. First up, we've got Derposaurus. How you feeling today, Derp?
Not bad.
You ready to take this home?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get it started. And his opponent today is going to be Non-Entity. All right, so how are you enjoying the game so far?
It's really amazing, actually, man. I love rhythm games and fighting games, so this is like the best mashup.
All right, yeah, it's a beautiful mix here. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. Dara, Moo, back to you.
Thank you for that intro. Thank you for getting the next couple of out of one of the semis players coming onto the stage. Of course, I do believe the entirety of top 8 is going to be best of 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody down the line. So all you have to do is just win 2 out of 3 of the matches, and then you're good to go to proceed to the next round.
Yep. And now that they talked about it, I'm curious what the backgrounds of all these players in top 8 are, rhythm game versus fighting game, or whether they're experienced in both.
Yeah. That's an excellent question. One that I don't exactly have an answer to. We just kind of like jumped on here and we're like, okay, let's talk about some video games. But yeah, no, I feel like, especially like with a lot of the maybe like more guitar-inspired ones, maybe some of the other battling rhythm games, those are the ones that will probably give you like the biggest edge. Those that have like the most overlapping set of fundamentals going into something like this.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, we're just getting into it. We just got to wait for them to get started and to be able to pick their respective characters. And yeah, let's just see like where the match takes us.
Yeah, and if they choose not to random and you're actually going to the individual stages, each individual stage has a set of songs you can choose from, just to give a little bit more background there while they're setting up.
Yeah, that's something as like time goes on. Like as soon as the game is released, we'll start to like figure out like where do we actually want to go on stages. I feel like as like a concept that is so unique to think about, like okay, in a fighting game, I gotta worry about the music. I gotta really worry about the stage to like this kind of an extent. And I'm curious, are there different archetypes of beat maps that like some players are really good at versus others?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see over time. All right, so it looks like we're getting into the second match.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing Johan being picked by Derp, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then Nonenity with the Johan, Derp with the Hilde.
Oh, starting off with adding the notes to non-entity's lane.
Who's already like struggling a little bit, took a good amount of damage from that. But I gotta say, I love the fact that Derp is just, dude, I got this meter, it's use it or lose it, and man, they're using it.
It looks like you build up meter very fast in this game too, so why not use it as much as you can?
Yeah, Nonenity fighting back a little bit, but right now Derp just hitting all of these flawless, all of these perfect notes. Nonenity definitely struggling a little bit, falling behind as the song gets more and more intense.
Oh, and we saw the level cancel with the level 2 versus 1. So if you're adding lanes to someone's lane, you do a level higher, and that'll get rid of all their mods. But that was a very, very quick round 1.
Yeah, that was a quick round 1. That was a pretty dominant round 1, right?
Very
Like right off the get-go, Derp is like, okay, I got places to be. Actually, I do not know who is who, because I do believe the names are actually switched. Nonenity should be on the right, Derp is on the
I
left.
think you're right.
So, yeah, looks like it's all correct now. Let's get into this next game. Oh my gosh, look at the meter usage right from the beginning.
Just another slugfest and a lot of damage taken by Derposaurus right from the get-go as well.
This thing
Already
like, yo,
a third
wake up.
down.
Get yourself in the game.
And that's the struggle with this game. If you are sleeping for a second, you're probably already down to half health.
That's right. You have to be attentive, but then it's also like you don't want to always like focus on like the micro game plan of yourself. But right now the issue is Nonenity falling behind quite a bit here, trying to stay afloat, but
no.
how do you get past that
Wow.
bagage? How do you get past that?
My goodness, wow. That was such a quick reversal at the end. Good job.
Yeah, and they just like walked in, they walked out. Man, these games are so fast. They're going through it. And again, super new game. The better the players are, the longer they're going to last, of course, right? Because you only take damage if, I believe, like an opponent scores like a better execution on a note than you did.
Correct. So say you get a perfect versus a flawless, the person with the flawless will not take damage, but
Yeah.
the person with the perfect will. And as it is a differential, so if you get worse than a perfect, you'll take more damage.
Yeah. Anything worse than that, you're just going to take more damage. And I just feel like in the beginning, it just didn't look so good for Nonenity, right? Derp was just like, I'm going to put stuff out there. I'm just going to really basically like execution check you.
Yep.
And Nonenity was just like, hey, maybe my fundies aren't there. I'm not going to be able to keep up with this as much. And then just like kind of fell behind.
Yep. And then maybe even potentially trying to get some of the levels out while the extra notes were in might have also done them in. That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to pay attention for.
That's good. So, with that being said, I do believe our winners semi side is, or winners final, excuse me, is all filled up. That's going to be Tiger going up against Derp in winners side. So, I don't know if we're actually going to be going to that first or if we will be doing some losing side matches first.
We shall see.
Yeah, only time I'll be able to tell. So far, I feel like, you know, going into this, we were kind of told like King is the one that's really good. We haven't seen a lot of King. We've been seeing a good amount of character diversity.
Yep. All right. So without further ado, let's take it back to the MC.
All right, good job, Derposaurus. Taking it home pretty convincingly and moving on to grand finals. Let's give some noise to Derposaurus, who will be meeting Tiger. Guaranteed top 3. But now, these matches are a little different. It's lose and go home. So if our competitors are ready, we're going to go ahead and get started with Mark 4447. All right, how you feeling being on the big stage for this game?
I'm feeling good, you know?
All right, you think you got it what it takes to take it home?
Maybe.
All right. You're here to have fun. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. And Mark's opponent today, well, right now, is going to be Hank the Tank. I'm doing well. How are you doing, Hank?
Doing great, brother.
All All right, you think you got what it takes to beat Mark in advance?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
All right. Well, I mean, the game is only, what, 17 hours worth of playtime, so let's see how you adapt. All right. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Our first losers round of 8 match. So Dara and Moo, if you want to go ahead and take us home.
Man, I gotta say, you know how the now fighting game plays the lack of confidence. I was like, you're gonna go on the stage. How you gonna do? Maybe I'll win. Maybe. Everybody that I know, at least like from Smash, like other fighting games, like, yeah, I'm gonna win. Yeah, I got this. I got
I'm
this
so
in
much
the
more
bag.
used to trash talk, yeah.
These guys are like too nice. They're gonna have a good time. They're not immersed in the spirit of competition, but that's fine. That's okay. Everybody, game 1 between Mark going up against Hank the Tank. We're gonna be seeing the picks to King, and I believe that's Ziggy.
Ziggy, yep. Which I love that play on Ziggy's name from the David Bowie song.
There's also some like little musical references. It's a cute game at the end of the day, and it's gonna be Hank the Tank just already like busting out, using up some of the meter right from the get-go. Mark right now is just playing pure rhythm game. I'm not touching this meter. I'm just doing my thing. I'm focusing on executing, and that's good. But that doesn't actually mean you're ever on the attack or making it more difficult for your opponent. That's why you can't be focused on like your own game plan all the time.
Yep. Oh, we see a little bit of an offense, but immediately reversaled by the Ziggy. But yeah, Mark was in the DDR tournament earlier today, so this makes sense why he has the rhythm game aspect down pat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now it's starting to get a lot of harder. Looks like a little staircase kind of pattern there. And now we have the extra notes added in. Oh, this is starting to...
That's messed up. You guys are having like a fight, and she just pulls a gun on you. That is not okay.
Not okay at all. Oh, and now we're starting to really pick up.
Canonically, King is like a washed-up rock star, and you just shot him? It's unbelievable. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
This is like the most back-and-forth game that we've had so far. Like, so many misses on both of these players' ends. Both of them are scrapping.
It's getting very far into the song, too. As we can see, the progression of the song is getting much, much harder. And it came down to basically a pixel of health.
There was pixels. I don't even know who won because I think the names are also like swapped for like a second. So I do see both of the players smiling. That was a bit of like a goofy finish. They were both like pixels away from taking it. That was a clutch game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Ridiculous. All right, so hopefully we'll see who won that when we... I think it was the King player, which I believe is Mark.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So that was a really close. That was a really close game. I feel like just fundamentally speaking, though, as like both of these like coming into the stage, like you said, you saw Mark previously on DDR. Simply put, hitting notes, and actually executing them quite well. I feel like compared to maybe a little bit before.
Okay, this one's starting off a lot more even.
Oh yeah, nobody's on like the attack quite yet. They're just both focused on their own game plans right now. Nobody gonna bust out anything, and they're just, yeah. But it's actually gonna be Hank who's falling behind a little bit on some of these hits.
Wow, yeah. So it was Hank who won the first round. Okay, so this one's looking a lot more even throughout overall, even though Hank is taking a little bit of damage here and there.
Yeah, now Hank is just like trying to keep afloat right now, but again, still like the same like issue as in the beginning, right? Which is like the lack of using the specials, but that's actually going to be a level 3 out there, and I do believe Mark actually blocked it quite well.
Yes, barely took any damage, if at all. And Mark just throwing a bunch of like level 2s and 3s at Hank right now, which is just causing so much damage over time.
Okay, just trying to block, but yeah, Hank falling behind a little bit. Mark just on the assault the entire time that game. That game just snowballed away so fast.
The stars have aligned.
All right, so we're going to song 3.
Yeah, first game 3 that we've had thus far on stream.
And each round was very, very different so far for this, so I'm interested to see how the last song goes.
Yeah, definitely like the closest one thus far. But I feel like the biggest differential factor at this point is like, hey, you know, you playing King, you got to get on with like the assault. Especially King's level 1 is so good. You just put stuff on the screen. You just put things there and you give your opponent something to deal with.
Yep, you constantly throw it out to force your opponent to either have to react or use their meter. Wow, this chart looks very complicated with the hold notes all around, and then having to also tap out individual notes while holding one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a really intense map right for Get-Go. You're really seeing both of them nearing and approaching half health, but it's actually going to be Hilde, who is just now sinking under. Oh, that was so good.
All right, we might be coming to an end here very, very shortly. Both players getting a flurry of misjudgments and non-perfect.
Who's it going to be?
Okay, it looks like Mark did take that in the last moment.
Okay, so it was actually Mark who was on King the whole time.
Correct.
Okay, I was a little bit confused a little bit before, but yeah, managed to like pull through a little bit. Just kind of like stayed afloat, kept his head above the water, hit his notes, and then was a little bit more like on the offensive this time. That entire game too, though, I feel like we only saw like 1 or 2 specials from King, so like a nice little turnaround game 3.
Yep. And the charts, that last chart looked so ridiculously hard compared to the other ones of that set too.
That was the beginning of the song, and there was just so much stuff on the screen. I feel like that's like the best way to put it. You're like, okay, well, I got to look at my meter, I got to look at my health bar, I got to figure out what my opponent's doing, and then I have to deal with like this mess that's coming my way. What's your mentality in that moment? How do you just stay in the game?
I'm assuming it has to be pure reaction, and then if you just know your levels, just throwing that out in between notes when you can.
Yeah, for sure. And with that being said, let's also throw it to the MC for another loser side match.
All right, that was a close one, but Hank the Tank managed to hang on tough and advance to losers quarterfinals. And our next match on deck, we've got John Conboy. All right, so I know you have more fighting game experience than some of the other competitors, so I want to see if you're confident. Do you think you can take this home?
Probably, maybe.
Probably, maybe. I want something definite. Come on, man.
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, yeah, that's what we like to see. All right, and John Con's opponent is going to be the Heart Container Cafe. All right, so John just said he thinks he's got it in the bag. Do you have any words for him?
As a Tekken player, as a huge Guitar Hero fan, he's going down.
Okay, that's what we like to hear. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started in the second losers round of 8 match. Dara, back to you.
That's what I like to see. You saw that enthusiasm right from a lovely second opponent there. The first one, backtrack a little bit too. Even when prompted, it was like, oh, you're going to win? He was like, maybe, yeah, probably. Like, got to commit to the bit, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
But yeah, happy about the confidence for the second player there.
Yes. I like the commitment. I like the emotional investment. They just went onto the stage and they were like, yeah, no, I'm here to win. We got a little bit of background experience, right, in Tekken and Guitar Hero as well. So it's gonna be exciting to see what they got for us.
And I don't want to play bias, but confidence is half the battle here. So just by that, I think I know who might win.
And it's a King Ditto.
Ooh, okay. I haven't seen a Ditto match yet, basically at all this weekend, so I'm excited to see how the Ditto works, because they can just keep spamming their level 1s back and forth.
They can just keep spamming the level 1s back and forth, and it's just going to come down to who has the execution, who can actually hit these notes in time correctly, and you're going to see that John Conboy is just like throwing stuff out there.
Yep, so as we see, they are just throwing out the level 1s constantly.
Okay, just like a very slow-paced match right now. We're actually getting a bit of a name swap. I do believe that's actually going to be the Heart Container Cafe who's in the lead. This map isn't so difficult from the beginning, right? You're only getting like a few notes that you have to worry about. And I gotta say, she is responding beautifully to all of the attacks that John Conboy is putting out there.
Yeah, And it looks like they're spacing out, throwing out their levels pretty well in between just the quick little note breaks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yo, John Conboy's got a lot to worry about. That was a little bit rough. You saw that speed up. Look at the health button. This is not going good.
No, if he doesn't bring this back, it's going to be a quick victory for Heart Container Cafe probably in the next 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, but right now, both of them, it's starting to get a little bit more even here. John Conboy has just been like on the offensive. The Heart Container Cafe taking quite a bit of damage, but now finally throwing stuff out there. John Conboy is slowly struggling, starting to fall under the pressure.
Ooh, and with that last hit, Heart Container Cafe takes it.
Yeah, takes game number 1. Yeah, I feel like I forgot like what specific like level of the special, if that's like the, I think that's the EX move. The EX move from King is so good because all of a sudden it completely throws your opponent like off of their tempo. John Conboy was not able to respond to it super well, and I feel like that just killed a lot of their momentum.
Yep. And that speed up is so hard to deal with because, especially since we're so unfamiliar with the charts right now, that's basically having to redouble the speed of what you're just being used to.
Yeah, that's right. Public speaking is difficult. Now do it twice as fast, essentially, right? So a little bit of a challenge, and already Heart Container Cafe now falling behind just a little tiny bit, but again, just using up that EX right from the beginning.
All right, this one going a little bit differently from the start. John Conboy up a little bit in the first third.
Yeah, right now, just Heart Container Cafe just focusing on the EXs, focusing on like continuously using them over and over actually, and just focusing on her own game plan. In the meantime, John Conboy has just been purely, like, I feel like on the defensive, but he has just been executing a little bit better than Heart Container has.
Yes, especially for this round, and he's been throwing out quite a bit of reversals from what I've been seeing when Heart Container Cafe has been trying to throw out these level 1s and 2s.
Oh yeah, and all of a sudden the map's getting significantly more difficult. You saw like those double scrums for a second, I was like, oh my god.
Yep. Oh, and that might do it here. Yep. Those extra notes did Heart Container Cafe in on that one.
Yeah, really simple compared to game 1 and game 2. The fact that John Conboy had to deal with multiple more of those like EXs from King, responded to them adequately, and didn't actually like fall behind or like lose as much momentum as last time. I feel like John Conboy's just execution was a little bit more tight that game 2.
I agree with that. Yes. Looks like Heart Container Cafe was getting overwhelmed by the notes at points and wasn't throwing out any of the supers or anything.
It was just EXs, which, I mean, to be honest, is a very fair EX as well. It's very, very solid. But in a way, it can also give you like opponents some more opportunities to like hit some flawlesses, especially if you're not like focusing on like your own game plan. So it can be like a bit of a double-edged sword, no? Yeah,
you could potentially bait King's level 1 because if you are expecting it, well then you can do that and then immediately throw something out after.
But you already see Heart Container Cafe now just being a little bit more, I don't know, liberal with some of these like special usages.
Yep, and we'll see if any of the players play more conservatively here and more focus on the notes themselves for a little bit, just to make sure they are good and set up to be able to use any of their meter.
Oh yeah. Okay, right now John Conboy, same kind of fate as last game, and now all of a sudden Heart Container Cafe has to deal with the same exact speed up. Both of them are just going back and forth right now. John Conboy just trying to pick up the pieces, but wow, this map is picking up.
Yes, this one from 0 to 100 very fast. And now just both players bleeding damage here and there like nothing. Oop, especially as the lane speed up comes out and the additional notes. Both players taking damage pretty consistently now at this point.
Yeah, the really big thing is also sometimes you can definitely like take full advantage of when there's just like a lot of already existing notes on the screen. That's why I feel like King's level 1 is so useful. But now Heart Container Cafe going to be taking that game 3, feeling themselves, absolutely hyping themselves up. A little bit of cheer in the background, some clapping as well as they move on to loser semis.
Yeah, and that game 3 was down to the wire again, just pixels of health. And congrats.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm glad that we're seeing a lot of King gameplay. as predicted. You know, talking to like one of the developers before I got on commentary, I was kind of told, yeah, this guy's kind of busted right now. Especially for new players. You put a lot of stuff on the screen, you just make their lives infinitely more difficult.
Yep. That is exactly what I heard too. I also heard Hilde is very, very good.
Solid, easy to pick up. I mean, that's been like the majority of what we've seen thus far. Lots of Kings, lots of Hildes as well. We saw the one Johan, albeit short-lived. And yeah, we're just going to be waiting for the next match to be ready in the meantime.
Let's see. I'm very curious to see if we, let's see. Have we seen everyone at this point, or are we set on basically just...
I feel like we've seen... I haven't seen Rosetta.
We have not seen Rosetta in
And
top
Rosetta
8.
is like the most unique one, as far as I know, because the EX actually charges your own meter. So that's like very specific. I feel like a lot of the other specials just sort of revolve around things that you kind of throw at your opponent and have to like make them deal with. This is something that you can use as a tool for yourself.
Yep. And with that, let's hand it back over to the MC.
All right, thank you. So it looks like that extra confidence from Heart Container Cafe really brought it home. And she ends up sending John Conboy to join Mark out of the tournament. But now we're going to go ahead and welcome back to the stage our first losers quarters match. We've got Crimson. You going to bring this one home?
Yes, sir. I'm going to make one of those mistakes in the first round.
All right. Well, let's hope we can adapt and correct those, right? All right, and joining him on stage is going to be Hank the Tank. All right, you think you got what it takes to make this run?
Hey, I played him in the first round and he destroyed me. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, it's time to adapt and, you know, get the revenge match. All right, Moo, Dara, we're going to take it back to you.
I love the fact that for this game specifically, everybody's like, dude, I gotta walk past this microphone. I gotta sit down immediately. I do not have time to answer any of these questions. They're in and out, buddy. They're phasing out.
Yep, just passing while answering.
Yeah, that's right. So let's talk a little bit about what we're gonna be seeing right now. So Hank knocked Mark out of the bracket completely and now has to go up against Crimson, I believe, who was just knocked down from winner's side. And, right? Is that the match that we have? I think so.
Hank and Crimson?
Yes, and Hank was the one that was initially knocked to loser's side by Crimson. So it's going to be potential double jeopardy here for Hank.
All right, I like the aesthetic of this background. It's very Neo-Tokyo-esque.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's beautiful. Like a whole little cyberpunk thing going on, especially considering the MC. He dressed up for the occasion, my friend.
All right, this chart starting off pretty difficult from the start. Lots of notes. And let's see. Okay, we're getting basically Hank is already taking a lot of damage here, almost down to a fourth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, that King EX, but that does not matter. Crimson right now just really dealing a lot of damage to Hank here. That was a fast game. Crimson has places to be.
Crimson just constantly adding notes into Hank's lane, and Hank was not able to deal with that at all.
I feel like that just kind of like boils down to it. Like, that's it. That's like the level of counterplay. You know, I'm going to put stuff on the screen. Are you going to be able to hit it? Nope. Okay, cool. Thanks for the game one. So going into game two, how do you actually counter that, right? Can you like buckle down and force to be more defensive? No, you have to actually be on the offense as well. The reason that your opponent is able to get away with so many of these specials, the reason they're able to swing and kind of mash as much is because you're not matching them. You need to be throwing out as much stuff at them too. And already Crimson's execution just has been flawless, just consistent. If anything, thus far, Crimson compared to Hank has been a little bit more consistent.
Agreed. And then just still constantly spamming the notes onto the screen while comboing that with the freeze notes, which means that Hank can't even hit the buttons for a couple seconds. So that combo alone is free damage.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And again, Hank the Tank now bleeding super heavily here. Crimson just dealing so much damage over and over again. And now finally starting to fall behind just a little tiny bit on the execution here. Hank the Tank able to actually land that.
Yep. Good from Hank. Oh, here we come with a flurry of notes. How are they doing? Ooh, Hank took a bit of damage out of that. And now there's a flurry of just more notes again. And with that, Crimson handedly takes it. Round two, game two.
Yeah, and that's going to be the double jeopardy for Hank there. A little bit unfortunate to have to get the run back and still lose to the person that knocked you out of winner's side altogether. But that was a fast match. And just as they sat down quickly, they have places to be. They're here to tear through the bracket. They're here to enjoy the convention. So, you know, Crimson was just like, I'm in and out. I'm in and out.
Yep, and I'm excited to see the matches with Crimson again because if other players can't deal with that flurry of notes, it could be one-sided again from here on out. But considering Crimson is in losers, someone had to have dealt with that.
Yes. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out our second side of losers semis. Let's throw it to the MC.
All right, that match was really fast. I blinked and missed half the whole thing. All right, so now the last match before we go into our top 4, we're going to go ahead and get started with Non-Entity. And then Non-Entity's opponent, Heart Container Cafe.
So this match is actually friendly fire because Non-Entity is my partner for the Heart Container Cafe. So this is going to be a fun one. Also, that last match with John Con, I strategically counterpicked stage at the end, and that's what won it. The strats, guys, the strats.
All right, well, let's see if those strats pan out for this match. Again, our last match before we get into top 4. Dara, Moo, back to you.
A tragedy, truly. This is a solemn moment. I hate to have to enthusiastically talk about the friendly fire that's about to ensue, the THC civil war here, but yeah, it's going to be the Heart Container going up against Non-Entity.
Yeah, and what Heart Container Cafe said at the end there also caught me by surprise. Already coming up with counter picks. Day 1 of game.
That felt like a bluff. I'm not going to lie. The game's been out for less than a day for us here at the convention, right? So,
Yeah.
Was that a bit of a bluff? Perhaps. Do you know the stages extensively? I doubt it. But you know what? At the end of the day, above all else, what I have appreciated from the Heart Container Cafe thus far has been the confidence, and she exudes that into game 1 of this loser semis match.
All right, we got the Johan back.
Yeah. Again, Non-Entity, the sole representative. Everybody else, they're sticking to their top tiers, they're sticking to the king. And Non-Entity struggling a little bit, but dealing some serious damage. Oh my goodness.
Yes, they've also thrown out supers straight from the gate. All right.
Okay, have to deal with that speed up hill, but okay, Non-Entity just able to fight back the best that they possibly can in that moment. This has been a very back and forth game thus far.
Yes, slugging it right back and forth, throwing out everything they possibly can at each other constantly.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like Non-Entity is having a little bit of a difficulty keeping up with just the series of different lane changes coming out from Heart Container Cafe. And with that, even though they were just trading back and forth at the end, Heart Container Cafe able to take game 1.
Yeah, again, I feel like just aggressive play in the beginning of any game, especially something like a rhythm battling game. It seems to really be like the name of the game, right? Because if you can just assert that stage, if you can assert that sort of momentum before they can, momentum is everything in a rhythm game, honestly.
Yep. All right, quickly into round 2.
Yeah, let's see how this one goes. Okay, they're both just starting off with a couple of perfects, and I gotta say, when it comes to just raw execution, Non-Entity is coming out on top, ever so slightly.
Yep, it really is just coming out to the strategic use of super that is causing Heart Container Cafe to edge out here.
Oh, what a reversal. That was so cool. I believe that was actually Johan's EX, which can cancel other moves and it consumes some of your H stack. So that is a little bit interesting in how it functions. It is effectively a counter.
Ooh, a nice 4-hit combo to Heart Container Cafe from Non-Entity there, but as soon as I say that, they just start slugging back and forth. The notes added to the other lane just caused Heart Container Cafe to take a lot of damage there.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, and if this keeps up,
you gotta stream. You gotta make sure that you have it. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Okay, both of them staying alive. Who's actually gonna be the first one to go here? It's gonna be the Heart Container Cafe. That was so close at the end.
Yeah, and you can just see the sigh of relief right there from Non-Entity. Ooh, barely clutched that one out.
Yeah, definitely feeling a little bit good about themselves. But I gotta say, so I don't fully know how Rage stacks, like in this game, but I'm pretty sure the reversal that we did see from like Johan from Nonentity was actually like pretty impressive, especially if somebody's putting a lot of stuff out there like King, just to be able to like nullify that immediately is
Let
huge.
me show you why they call me king.
All right, yeah, game number 3, the final game between the two for the Friendly Fire, and they're heading back to the whole Neo Tokyo theme.
Oh, and we just get a level 1 straight out the gate from Non-Entity, adding the notes, and then a response back with another level 1 from King.
Oh yeah. Just a really like slow-paced match. Nobody's dealt like serious damage quite yet. And again, there it is. Those reversals just constantly canceling out whatever the Heart Container Cafe is putting out there.
All right, going a little slower this time. Both players playing a really good defensive game here this time. And now the chart's starting to pick up more. We see a little more damage being taken by Non-Entity here and Heart Container Cafe.
Yeah, this is the most like even game we've had thus far. I also feel like the song has been gentle. Compared to like some of the other maps previously, this one has been like a little bit lighter on competitiveness here. But now it's starting to pick up, so let's see who's just in the presence of mind to keep it going. Ooh. That could have been so huge, but yeah, no, Heart Container Cafe just like made sure to execute, didn't take like too much damage there.
The slow chip coming in ever so. Ooh, okay. The super there, caught on Entity.
Dude, that EX, what do you do about that?
That EX is just so powerful.
Nonentity was just like not ready for it. It was already like struggling, stumbling just like a little tiny bit, and then all of a sudden you have to speed up all these notes, and you're like, whoa, buddy, what just happened to me? What's going on? I have all this stuff on the screen that I have to deal with, and it's just, man, King's kind of busted.
Yeah, seems like the clear top tier right now.
His EX alone, you don't even need anything. You can use his like level 1 special, but his EX alone is just like enough to just like completely like change like the tides of the momentum and like throw your opponent like make them like really like throw them into the game.
If your opponent is purely defensive, that's gonna basically rock them.
Yeah, for sure. So in the meantime, let's throw it to an MC. We only have a few more sets coming on up, so yeah, let's stay tuned. Let's see what he got for us.
All right, unfortunately for Non-Entity, he was in fact the victim of that friendly fire from Heart Container Cafe as she moves on to top 4. But first, we've got our winners finals match. This one is going to be best 3 out of 5. Welcoming first to the stage, we've got Tiger. You got some words for the crowd?
Yeah, I don't know how to play this game. I'm just hitting buttons, and it's like, it's wild. I don't know how I got up here. Hadouken.
Sit down. This one over here.
What a troll.
Yeah. All right, and Tiger's opponent, Derposaurus. So do you know how to play this game?
Very vaguely. Not much better than he does, honestly.
Well, y'all have beaten the field to stand tall as the top 2 so far, but one of y'all is going to be tumbling down the mountain and join our words. All right. Viva la Mu, Dara, back to you.
I love the fact that MC had enough of Tiger. He's just like, sit down. Sit down, get into the game. I've had enough of this.
I also like the slight trash talk thereby a little better than him.
I was about to mention that. Do you know the subtlety in the passive aggression from Derp? Probably not intended to be that way, but I'm like, I'm only slightly better at the game than Tiger. That was so slight-handed. That was beautiful. You know, it was elegant. It was unexpected. It's a sleeper.
Now that looks like they're getting set up there. Before we get into it, yeah, Tiger, kind of a little troll there. Used to be the runner of DDR Storm, very, very big Florida DDR tournament that's been running since 2001.
And I gotta say, when it comes to fashion, Tiger's on top of it. This is Holmat, baby. You got the red suit. Is that a cosplay from something? Maybe, maybe not. It could also just be a very festive-themed suit. Tiger comes onto the stage with a nice-looking suit. You are dressed to win. All right? And that's what I like to see. I like to see people put, feel like they make a statement.
Now, will his gameplay be as loud as his dress?
We'll have to see. Only time will tell, and already pretty even game thus far has just been executing and already going on the offensive too. Pasolis just falling behind a little bit.
This chart looks very hard from the beginning. It just has a lot of notes and some of those chord notes, and then just a lot of different movement throughout the four lanes constantly.
And this is something that I've actually noticed and given a good amount of thought about beforehand. With the chord notes, I think using maybe a traditional fighting game controller grip, which is to have the left hand hold it like a controller, and then your right hand be on top of it, so use as though you're hitting arcade buttons, might be the optimal strat, because hitting those chords otherwise, man, that's gonna be a bit tricky. You gotta claw grip. You gotta claw grip.
Goodness, this chart is just relentless. Ooh.
Let's be honest, Duke was not having a good time at the end of that
No,
chart.
neither of them looked like they were having a good time at the end of that. Oh, wow.
But I gotta say, even despite that, because of how much stuff was out there, I feel like Tiger was the one that was still kind of taking advantage of it by still continuing to use some of his own specials to be able to still continue to put stuff on the board for the Pasolis to have to deal with. So maybe not the best game one for the Duke, but hey, you just need a game to get out of the way. Now you're gonna be going to the Hill Day. Let's see how this goes.
All right, this one's seeming like it's starting out at a little better pace, and the quick level 1 there to add more notes to Tiger's lane. Ooh, this seems to be tripping him up quite a bit too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I gotta say, this song is a bop. This one goes so high, the bass line on it.
Oh yeah.
We can feel it from the stage.
All right, yeah, this match is going a little bit differently than last time. Ooh, Dermosaurus taking a lot of damage during that last flurry of exchanges. Tiger causing it to be a little more even now. Not been taking too much damage for the last about 10-15 seconds now. However, as I say that, looks like they're both taking damage now, and it is going to come down to the wire here.
Yeah, and I gotta say though, Tiger has just been using up a lot of that meter. It's going down to the wire, and it's actually gonna be Dermosaurus who is taking it over Tiger in that game too.
Yeah, and with the extra notes that got added in. Very nice.
A little pop-off. Oh my god! And the finger wag too? Tiger said none of that. Absolutely not. None of my presence, buddy. It's not happening.
And then asking for the crowd hype.
There's not a lot of a crowd, guys. We're trying our best out here. But game number 3, once again, this is a best of 5. We are in winners finals territory, of course. So everything from here on out is going to be best of 5. So, nobody's getting knocked out quite yet.
Yep. And this song sounds very interesting and like it's going to be very difficult. And just seeing all these chord notes here come out, yes, this looks very, very difficult.
And Tiger is hitting those chord notes. Tiger has been executing on those chord notes just as the game said, flawlessly.
And yeah, it's really just the extra notes that are giving Tiger the real issue here. But there's a lot of them coming in from Dermosaurus' side, and that is very, very difficult to deal with.
I mean, I gotta say, this is not something that I gave a lot of thought about before, but maybe in a battle rhythm game, you have to just fully be aware of when your opponent is stumbling, and then use that as the opportunity to continue to put more stuff out there to fully knock them over.
And I'll use a Guitar Hero comparison here. Guitar Hero 3, when you had the rock battles against the other guitarists, you could stack your abilities up, and basically that's how you beat them very easily, because you stack 3, they just instant fail.
Yeah, you gotta have that game sense to understand in that moment. You gotta be looking at your opponent being like, okay, I see that you're missing a lot, I see that you're taking a lot of damage. This is the best time for me to continue mashing. I'm in advantage state. I'm gonna be the one to continue to push buttons here, and already. Game number 4, it's going to be, I don't know how it's going to go quite yet.
Already lots of damage taken by both players. Wow. Yeah, having the sense of peripheral vision here to see both what you're getting and your opponent's getting is very key. Oh wow, just a flurry of misses that caused Tiger to drop like a third health all at once.
Oh, for sure. And Tiger is really, really struggling at this point. Just barely staying alive, but a couple of more hits is all that it's going to take. Who's it going to be? Who was it? What?
Tiger took that. 0 pixels. The smallest sliver of health.
How did he stay alive? He stayed alive.
I have no idea how he stayed alive through that.
Yeah, both of them like laughing that situation off. I didn't even know who it was until like the game had to like think about it for a second. You saw like the game like pause like we don't know who to go like the death animation for. All right, game 5.
Yeah, this was not the game 5 I was expecting.
Oh yeah, especially with how like confidently Tiger started. But you know what? He's keeping his head in the game. Let's just see how this one goes. Already right off the bat, he's going to be the first one to take a significant, hefty amount of damage.
Already down 3rd health and sitting pretty... Derposaurus is sitting pretty nicely with bars, meter, just up in everything right now.
Okay, but right now Derposaurus is just slowing down the game just a little tiny bit here, making it, you know, really difficult for Tiger to really do anything about this. But again, the lead is very slight. We saw in the last game how Tiger was just able to bounce back. So if I'm Derp, I can't be too confident. I can't waste everything because that gives Tiger the room for a comeback. But again, sliver of health. Sliver of health. Is that going to be it? Yes, it will be.
It.
Wow. Tiger going to be sent down to losing side.
Yep, and as clearly demonstrated earlier, Derposaurus is just that little bit better than Tiger.
Yeah, that was poetic. That was truly a foreshadowed finish there. Derposaurus is going to be moving on to grand finals. Tiger knocked down to losers finals. So yeah, going to be fighting the winner of the losers semis match.
Yep, strong showing from both players, regardless.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. This is like still like a super new game to like the both of us. So please like excuse us as we're also like trying to pick up the pieces. But I'm trying to figure out like what is like really distinguishing somebody, or like what really distinguishes and makes a play style. I feel like aggression and when you're choosing the timing and the intentionality of like how you're using each of your specials is like one of the first things that like immediately comes to mind.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what I'm seeing too. Because any of the defensive players, while they are defensive and they're good for the first part of the song, it's not really making a difference when it gets to the harder portions.
That's right. But with that being said, let's throw it on over to a lovely, incredible MC to introduce our next players.
All right, thank you for that, Dara. Derposaurus squeezes that one by, manages to advance to grand finals. But now we've got our loser semis match to make it into top 3. First up, we got Heart Container Cafe. All right, give it up. And her opponent in this round will be Crimson. All right, and we're going to jump right into this loser semi match. So, Moo, Dara, back to you.
Oh yeah, there you have it. The Heart Container Cafe going up against Crimson. Crimson, I feel like they're one of the most aggressive players that we've like seen thus far, at least maybe in the match that we did get to see him really shown off in. And the Heart Container, the biggest personality that we have thus far, thank goodness. So I'm excited to see how this match goes.
Yeah, I expect a lot of back and forth here, honestly.
Yeah, wouldn't be able to tell you exactly right off the top of my mind how this is going to go. Everybody's still, of course, a little bit new. I am curious to see if, you know, the Heart Container Cafe has anything in mind, but I gotta say, really, really important, just like moving along like with the rhythm. As a rhythm game player, do you feel like that is something that actually helps you with your execution, or is that like a very personal thing?
Because of the lane swap difference, going sideways, most rhythm games go up or down. So trying to adapt from that standpoint has actually been a lot more difficult than I would have expected, but actually hitting the notes to the rhythm, that part hasn't been too difficult for my end. It's really just the fighting game aspects.
I will also say, this is a universal fighting game thing of like, okay, player 2 is kind of rough because you're going to be starting from the right side, so you have to flip all of your inputs. I feel like that's not something I've ever had to think about in a rhythm game before, right? You've never been like, the notes are coming from the opposite direction. But already, right from the beginning, Crimson takes that game 1 away from the Heart Container Cafe.
As you said, it's really that aggressiveness there.
But yeah, I mean, like I saw like them like bopping. I see them like moving their heads to the rhythm. Is that like something that you feel like is actually impactful? It's just like, I don't know, you look cool doing it.
I feel like that gets you into the zone. So when you're in the zone, you're going to tend to do better because hitting the notes to the right rhythm, getting the flawless, that requires some sort of flow state.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Right
my
now, both of
goodness.
them are trying to tap into it, but Hokkaido Cafe is not tapping into it. I gotta say.
That's crazy. You can have tap notes within holds.
Can you do that? Do you just have to like take the L at that point? What do you do in the middle of holds?
Yeah, that is a very interesting question. I think you just have to take the L, yeah.
There might be a way to get like simultaneously like 2 different inputs, if I am not mistaken. I think the D-pad.
Yes, you can hold it with the AXYB or just the normal input buttons, and then yes, the D-pad is a second set of inputs.
Right.
So yeah, I think that you'd have to hold it with one and then press it on the D-pad.
And I feel like that's like a very like essential concept. I feel like the first thing that jumps to my mind is something like Osu, right? Where you have 2 buttons. I feel like a lot of players when they started out like from the beginning, they just kind of like just single like tap instead of like using both of their fingers simultaneously. And the point is, if your finger is already in like in a position where you're pressing, you need to make sure that second finger is available. So already, that's a huge vibe check. To have like a hold and then you have like another input there. Do you have like the execution, the presence of mind? One of the best ways to, I feel like, get into that is to just kind of like already get into the habit, having one hand on the D-pad, having another on the buttons, making sure that you never like double tapping unless you'll be like totally fine in doing so.
I'm interested to see the evolution of the hand on the controllers in the future. Whether people use fight sticks or whether they end up using double claw even.
Yeah, for sure. It might be nice to like think about it like you have like a offhand that you will primarily focus to do like a lot of the fighting game inputs to do like your specials and stuff. That will then also function as like that secondary to hit like those notes in the middle of holds.
All right, so getting into Tiger versus Crimson now.
Yeah, we're just breezing through this bracket. We're getting into it.
Yeah, so this is
Losers
finals. So this will be a best 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we're just speedrunning this. They're getting into it. And already Tiger right off the bat. Just like using up some of that EX.
The button freezing is coming in super clutch for Crimson.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right now just trying to really trip up Crimson here, but I feel like Crimson, again, just like that aggressiveness, that's the thing that we saw really like define them before. It's coming into play now. Definitely with a pretty solid lead, but nobody is like faltering yet. These are like 2 of the strongest players that we've seen thus far.
Yep, and I really have to hand it to Crimson. On top of the super aggressiveness, also just a very solid defense and just getting high judgments all around. Ooh,
Oh,
as I say that.
As soon as you say that. Damn, that was a little bit rough. They missed all of those notes.
My goodness, yeah, that completely changed the tide into Tiger's favor to take that W on that one. Wow.
All it took was that one mistake. We were talking about the defensive play. What happened?
Again, I think I said this earlier, you stop paying attention for maybe even just 1 second, over half your health is gone.
Sometimes, like, okay, if you miss like a single note, that's fine. But if you miss like all that many consistently, that's like super, super rough, especially when you have like those kinds of streams. That's the kind of a thing that you have to be like primed for and so difficult to pick up halfway.
And honestly, that might be more punishing than like a normal traditional hit confirm even, taking that much damage.
Put it in, okay. Crimson just putting out a lot of stuff out there through Tiger, who's going to be taking some damage, but nobody just falling behind massively quite yet.
Yeah, Tiger handled that pretty well overall.
Oh, yeah. I will say, it's very satisfying to have a fighting game that is like based on rhythm, especially like as this meta like develops, as this game comes out. This is a game that you can like bop to, right?
Yeah, and it's really funny too because a lot of fighting game music has also gotten like very, like they've been bops over the years recently too.
Oh, yeah. But okay, Tiger gonna be taking out that game too.
Very nice. Yeah, so Tiger should be up 2-0 right now.
Yeah, I do believe that was Tiger through those first 2 games. So yeah, Crimson, I feel like, I don't know, I'm trying to like really put this guy in a box. I'm trying to like figure out like what exactly is going on. Crimson's defensive play is like slowly faltering as this goes on. Tiger is just putting a lot of stuff out there and just sort of taking the jump before Crimson is able to do much of the same.
And this might be the rhythm game mental fortitude aspect that comes into it. Constantly having to read and react to the rhythms constantly. And because it requires that mental fortitude at such basically being peak level the entire time, I think we're starting to see Crimson just have that like seconds of lapsed judgment and input.
So I believe we're going to be seeing the character switch. Or no, maybe not. I feel like that's who they played before, King and Ziggy.
They did do a character switch over to King.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Game 3. Let's get it.
Let's see if this works out in Crimson's favor.
Oh, I mean, already, just look at the difference. Tiger, look at his face. Look at him. He's immersed fully within the game at this point. He's moving his head along. He's looking extremely confident, which is honestly everything when it comes to defensive play, and then also having the boldness to start executing some attacks of your own as well. Tossed out one of those level 1 specials. Crimson not having done the same quite yet.
We're level 3.
I feel like nobody's been going through like ultras at all.
I've seen, I think, one ultra during this entire campaign.
Just once.
You know, I think we actually just saw one from Tiger just now, and that Crimson ended up taking like a third of HP damage. Wow, that was huge.
Yeah, Tiger right now is super aggressive. Crimson has lost a lot of that momentum. Now just like missing so many of these notes, finally getting back into it. But the question is it a little bit too late? You have that HP to consider. You have Tiger's massive advantage, and ooh, with all of those notes, there are so many more chances to get knocked out.
I think this came down to the rhythm game skill on Tiger's part to keep his cool, constantly hit the notes, and just constantly throw stuff out to Crimson not able to adapt quite easily to that.
Yeah, played aggressive, made sure just to make the most out of his own like character's tools, always just put stuff out there for Crimson to worry about, and took that set in a pretty confident 3-0.
Yeah, very quick 3-0 too.
So yeah, I don't know. This is like exciting. So I'm glad that I get like a chance to be able to like see this game a little bit. I hope to become like a little bit more knowledgeable about it as like time goes on and like really figure out like what exactly am I looking for. But ultimately, it just like comes down to really basic fundamentals. This is not the hardest rhythm game, not by a long shot, right? It's not like you have infinite notes to like worry about in like super tight sequences. But the point is, I feel like above all else, this isn't just an execution test. This is also like the recognition of your opponent to be like, I am fighting against you. We're not just racing each other.
Yep, which is a very stark contrast from rhythm games themselves, because even if you're playing against other people in rhythm games and tournaments, ultimately you are getting the score you are getting.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that other human element to consider. So you defensive play all of the time means one thing and one thing only. You'll get damage in if you're lucky. Okay, if your opponent like misses something, and other than that, you're just always going to be on the back foot at all times. So you have to know that passive aggression. You need to know how much to actually extend, and when to like really focus on like what's happening on your side of the field. That's what really defines any good fighting game player. That's what defines a good rhythm battling player. And now we have grand finals of the first God of Rock event.
Yeah, and this should be a very, very hype grand finals indeed. All right, so we have Ziggy and Hildy.
And I gotta say, especially like with how strongly Tiger starts off, the fighting game fundies are showing. I feel like above all else, Tiger is the one that exudes them the most.
I agree with that. And Tiger does come from a very, very heavy background in both genres of gaming as well, so I think that is definitely showing in his play all around, not just in one aspect.
Absolutely. Right now, Dupasaurus took the lead. Lots of use of the EX there, and now all of a sudden, not able to actually land any of those. Tiger getting so many hits and capitalizing off of Dupasaurus' dropped execution.
Yep, and now they're just throwing back level 1s and level 2s, just constantly adding notes to each other's lanes, and it's just becoming a flurry. Enough so that Derposaurus takes game 1 over Tiger.
And that's interesting, because I feel like Tiger wasn't even like doing poorly or anything either. We saw like a lot of flawlesses, we saw like a lot of execution, but then of course some notes just, not all notes are created equal. Some just do more damage than others.
Yep. All right, and then the quick quick round 2 instantly.
Just gonna be getting back into it. Dupasoil is gonna be feeling himself a little bit here. And yeah, let's see how this one goes.
Quick level 1 from Tiger's side, but then a quick level 1 again back from as a reversal. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a little back and forth here, but this is going a lot slower pace than the last match.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is, again, Dupasoilus is very, very gentle lead here. Tiger is not even like faltering behind a little bit too much, but just not able to match Dupasoilus' aggression, who's making the most out of his meter, uses that level 3, and it actually ends up doing quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, he's really taking advantage of those extra notes, causing Tiger not even necessarily to miss, but just get lower judgments.
Oh, yeah.
So just lots of chip damage over time.
Okay.
I will say, though, Tiger is pulling this back. Oh, and was able to, despite taking damage during that last exchange, inch it out. So, quick 1-1.
Yeah, quick 1-1.
Seems very happy about that one.
Made a bit of a comeback. Played super, super tight at the end there. This is, of course, another best of 5. If Tiger does take the set, though, it is going to be the bracket reset. So they'll have to play out another set entirely. The thing is, this switch I find like is very interesting as game to game we move on. Is there a specific counterplay that you can do against your opponent, or in a fight in a rhythm game that forces like very like instinctual playstyles where you can be like, okay, this guy's going to be aggressive, so I'm going to have to modify this way. I'm curious to see if that's going to be a level of counterplay that we'll see today at all.
I feel like that might be something that is going to come up once the meta evolves ever so slightly.
Yeah.
A little too new at this point, but I think I've seen a couple level 1s reversed by level 2s, but those might have actually been accidental.
Okay, Tiger right now just has to deal with everything that Dupasoilus is doing to him at this point, which is slowly becoming increasingly difficult. This lead is growing. Dupasoilus maybe not nearly as focused on the defensive, who is just like always pressing these specials.
Yep, that appears to be the case here. Oh, a string of all flawlesses from Tiger's side, able to give a little damage to Dupasaurus there, and then just taking it back again.
Wow.
Tiger constantly coming back in these situations for the last 2 games here.
Dupasoilus is the one that's like building up a lead, and then all of a sudden, Tiger is just like able to like really hold it down, really make sure that, hey, he's not going like out anytime soon. He's still like putting up a fight. I'm trying to figure out like why exactly that's the case, other than his execution's good, his fundies are solid.
I was gonna say maybe it's as the song progresses and it gets harder, it is truly his rhythm game fundamentals carrying him.
Yeah, so only time will tell. Game number 4 between the two. Tiger on the verge of a bracket reset here.
Ooh, a lot of damage just taken right away from Tiger. Just a short amount of time.
Yeah, like opening off the same exact way it has previously, with Dupasoilus being the one to deal that much damage onto Tiger, who then really held it down, who was able to make that kind of a comeback. And yeah, again, hitting all these perfects, not taking a significant amount of damage quite yet.
Yeah, this one is a very... this one has been the most even for the longest, I would think, so far.
Oh, yeah.
But as we see, the chart's starting to pick up a lot more now, so I think this is going to very quickly start changing in favor.
Yeah, this is snowballing. This is snowballing fast. Dupasoilus has just not been able to really take their feet like off the ground. Tiger executing an excellent combo there and just dealing copious amounts of damage.
Yeah, and as we go into these alternating chord parts, just stacking up that damage even further.
That was a little bit rough. Dupasoilus was like stumbling there at the end. He had so many notes to worry about at that moment. Tiger played super aggressively, and that's actually going to be the bracket reset. So you're not done quite yet. You have another set to play, buddy. You're coming in from the loser side. So you have one more to go before you can take this event as your own.
Yeah, and we'll see. Will Tiger be able to keep it up into this and also be able to keep this momentum?
He looks like he's having a good time. That's what I like to see. He looks like he's smiling, he's dancing, he's moving a little tiny bit here. So, and look at that. The high five with the crowd in the background, too. So sweet.
Win or lose, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's got a suit on. Look at that suit. He looks nice. He looks crisp. He looks fresh, and he's playing Ziggy. So game number 1 of the bracket reset. This is the final set of the evening for God of Rock. Let's get it. Oh, the glasses adjust. It's over. You saw the glasses adjust. It's you're done. If you do, there's nothing else that you can do. Shake his hand. Okay, right now both of them just like, consistent. Nobody's like flawless quite yet, but they're just like hitting the ones that matter.
Feels like they're both just kind of vibing out to the song.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Hildy getting a little bit of HP back from that. I did not realize that was one of her moves.
Okay, just able to block all those effectively. Dupasaurus is really using up the speed, and the question is, will that actually come back to bite him?
Ooh, this exchange going pretty even. Tiger taking a little bit of damage out of that, but still overall ahead.
Okay, he had to deal with those stacked cords. That was a little bit difficult for a second, absolutely.
Ooh, the nodes during that hole really tripping Derp up. And enough to maybe be calling it here in a couple seconds. Just on pixel health.
Almost. Dupasaurus was slowly starting to make a bit of a comeback. That was like a copious amount of damage output, but then Tiger was just able to hold it out there at the end. Going to be taking game 1 of Grand Finals.
And Tiger there, finding his zen moment for a second.
Please high five the person in the back. It's over. It's too late. They got to get to the next. She wants it so bad. She wants that high five so bad. I mean, I feel like just like, even like as a really basic fundamental thing, the fact that Tiger like opens off with like 3 consecutive perfects, whereas Dupasaurus has just been missing like some of those timings, I feel like that just says like a lot about like Tiger's composure and basic execution.
Absolutely there. And also his ability to just basically read any opening very, very solidly. That's probably huge in itself, adapting to each individual chart starting off so differently.
Oh wow, just not missing a single beat there for a second, but then Dupasaurus' attack finally coming into play, dealing a bit of damage. Missing a few of those notes.
And this one is just kind of a slugfest. We're already down to both players less than half health.
Okay. Tiger right now just going to be throwing out everything possible. Dupasaurus going to be matching. And you have that huge stream of notes to deal with, and Dupasaurus just continues on the aggression. Who's it going to be?
Oh, wow. I was not expecting Tiger to take that. He was taking a lot of damage there at the end, but I think it ended up being one of those exchanges where they were both taking damage constantly.
Oh, yeah. All right, Tiger on the verge of making like the bracket reset and just like winning so many consecutive games to be able to take this entire event. This is the final set, potentially match game as well. Oh, I think they're ready into it. Yeah, there we go. Tiger feeling himself. Dupasaurus looking a little bit more nervous here. And already very, very slight damage lead, but at this point, very volatile. Anything can change at a moment's notice.
Yep. Something I've been impressed with that I do want to make a comment about. Even though this is primarily all rock music, just the different variety of genres within the rock genre we've gotten. Very, very impressive for the assortment of music across the board.
Oh, absolutely. What a soundtrack this game has, huh?
I believe it's all in-house music, too.
All in-house. That means you can stream it when this game comes out. Tiger right now, though. Again, this is such an even game. Dupasaurus going to be trying to get something going here. A lot of misses on both of their ends. This can go any way still, but Dupasaurus is making the comeback?
Yeah, Dupasaurus really taking it with that stream of A and B notes there. Very impressive comeback there. Good job.
Yeah, not quite yet. Tiger's not out of the woods quite yet. You can't rest easy at all. You don't have the time to do so. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just like the ability to like come back in this game is like super I don't know, super vital. It comes back to like a lot of the meter usage. I just feel like the meter recharge is so fast. It doesn't feel like any of the specials are like a huge commitment.
No, not at all. It's just like, okay, wait another 5 seconds, hit a few notes, and I can go back again.
Oh yeah. on this map. Super, super fast. It's already coming in. It's coming in so aggressively. Tiger going to be missing a whole bunch, but that does not matter. Deuce Maswellis is the one that's going to be taking some damage here.
Wow, this song has the most ridiculous opener that I've seen out of anything we've seen so far. And it's
This is the beginning of the song.
Yeah, so as we get into it, look, it's just getting more and more ridiculous as we go on. Enough so that both players almost falling at this point, and we're maybe 30 seconds in.
30 seconds in, but that does not matter. Tiger is going to be a champion, taking the entirety of the God of Rock bracket. Wow, what a win.
Yeah, don't need to be aggressive when the song itself is aggressive enough.
Yeah, no, super, super exciting stuff. Just like really like took advantage of it, and I just feel like between the two, the biggest thing that it like saw was just like, hey, Tiger's like pretty like consistent with like a lot of the combos. We saw like the combo counter like come up significantly more times in his favor. I feel like compared to some of his prior opponents.
Yep, and I feel like that really just has to come down to the rhythm game, muscle memory, and pattern recognition.
Yeah. Absolutely. Before you like even like focusing on like the greater macro plan, if you can avoid like a lot of your opponent's attacks and like still dish out some of your own, congratulations, you're doing the thing. You're winning. So that means Tiger is going to be the champion of the first ever God of Rock bracket experience.
Yes, and what a good first experience this has been for God of Rock. These matches have been so hype. Very fast-paced, too. I was expecting them to go on a little longer, but I suspect as we make our way through the events in the future.
As soon as there is like a dedicated player base, right? Because that's when you get like more people hitting notes. That's when you get more people also like attacking and blocking as well. That's like when you start seeing like the skill flow, like raise up a little bit, and then you'll see like, you know, really truly the beauty of the entirety of the songs at hand. And yeah, with that being said, let's toss it to MC, I believe, for one last time.
All right, what a great grand finals. How'd y'all enjoy it? All right, yeah. All right, well, congratulations to Tiger, who is the very first world champion of God of Rock, the very first tournament ever held here at Holiday Matsuri. Congratulations and thank you to all of the entrants for this tournament today. Our time with God of Rock is wrapped up, but next we're going to be going, getting some Guilty Gear Strive action on top 6.
Yeah, thank you to lovely MC. With that being said, everybody, before we do sign off, first and foremost, thank you for having us. Thank you for listening to us talk about this video game that we never got a chance to talk about before. If you would like to do so, follow my lovely, incredible co-caster, Viva Lamu, at
Viva Lamu Chicken without the E in chicken for Twitter, and Viva Lamu Chicken, the full name, on Twitch.
Yeah.
And then?
If you would also like, you can find me at Tenomedia on Twitter and on Twitch as well. I'll be on a little bit later today with some Super Smash Bros. Coming your way. But in the meantime, just as the MC said, we will be getting some incredible Guilty Gear Strive action, a classic, a staple of anime cons. We've had so many Guilty Gear cosplays, and I'm so thankful. Everybody, we'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes with some Strive.